All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Welcome to the first farmers market of 2021. Yes! It feels a little bit different than last year, doesn't it? Yeah. Feel a little better? Everybody open? All right. And new possibilities with the new year are here. I wanted to take a moment to give a quick overview. We're going to have words from Connie discussing the context of this whole event today. It is May 1st. I have a very top secret practice. On May 1st, the first day of every month, your first words out of your mouth, you quietly declare, rabbit, rabbit. And you know, this is a historical secret. It invokes good luck for the balance of the month. So this has been worth the price of admission for all of you. Remember this and make it a fun competition in your household. The first person to declare rabbit, rabbit does not have to do any housework for the rest of the day. Got it? Fun game. So let's make this fun. So my name is Stuart Valentine. And Bob Ferguson, who's filming me right here. Bob and I and others in the audience are members of the Sustainable Living Coalition, or SLC, here in Fairfield. And the Sustainable Living Coalition has been sponsoring a project called TerraCycle Fairfield. Some of you may have seen it in the entryway of everybody's, the collection bins for hard-to-recycle materials. But this event today, we wanted to kind of broaden the scope to help people understand the involvement of others in the city of Fairfield and the state of Iowa on projects that are bringing a more sustainable design to our lifestyle here in Iowa. And to get us started, I wanted to introduce our dear mayor, Connie Boyer, to talk about the backdrop against which this event is occurring. Connie?
Thank you, Stuart. And thanks for everybody coming out today. Really appreciate it. It's a beautiful day. And hopefully we'll have some inspiring words for everybody. Fairfield has a rich culture and a strong history of civic engagement. If we look back, this park was dedicated in 1903 by the mayor then. And Stuart said there are 6 plaques in this park, which I didn't even realize. So find your plaques today and see what this Howard Park is all about. And by the way, the Howard family still lives in Jefferson County. We also have a strong history of forward-thinking leaders, from education to recreation to economic development, and to our commitment to conservation and sustainability. So if we think of education, we think of Parsons College and MIU, and even before Parsons College, I think that was started, I don't remember the name of it, but it was started by the Presbyterian Church. In recreation, think the trails and our pool and gym. Yes, those are more recent. In economic development, our planning and zoning, actually, which was created about 60 years ago, which was talked about just recently in a city meeting, much of that is still being used today. So they had great foresight to put that together. In our conservation area, we certainly have Jefferson County Conservation, our nature center that really works on education and taking care of our lands in our county. We have the Natty land that is going to be opening this summer, I think, which is right next to Waterworks Park, and it'll be a great and beautiful park for us to enjoy, and lots of education will happen there. And then we also had our Go Green plan, which was done in 2010, and our new comprehensive plan that has many of those things sprinkled in that comprehensive plan that we will use going forward. Looking forward, I also want to note that the Southeast Iowa Sierra Club, with many representatives here, have put together a great plan, a 3-year plan that they've really stepped up and have some ambitious goals. So I hope people join them and help them do what they're planning. I am personally really liking this term community resilience that we've been talking about with the Sierra Club. And the reason is because it's more of a focus inward. It's a focus on our community, not the world. And if every community focuses on their community, we will change the world. And it's about taking care of each other. There are several things quietly happening in our community now, and area citizens who have a big heart and are stepping up and doing what's needed. They're not waiting for any government organization to do it. The thing that's most in my mind right now is the free little pantries. What a beautiful project. I soon will be announcing the new board for the members of the Volunteer and Resource Center. This will be a networking resource for those with a need and those with a solution. Under that volunteer center is a vision for volunteer action teams to accomplish the many things to make Fairfield an even better place to live, work, and raise our babies. Action teams coming together and their efforts under community resilience and sustainability include affordable housing. The city and FEDA are talking pretty regularly about that and what we can do. Habitat for Humanity is certainly stepping up, and I want to give a shout out to Martin Brett for all the building that he's been doing on the north side of town. A community emergency team led by our emergency management coordinator, Brett Farrell, hopefully will get organized soon or in the next year. And underneath of that, we are talking about a social network that is more of a mutual aid organization. And that will be more on the neighborhood level, supporting each other, especially during times of a crisis. If we had, for example, and I hate to say this, but if we had a tornado that went through our town and was more devastating, or what like happened in Cedar Rapids last year, the derecho, those neighborhoods really came together helping each other. They pooled the resources of food and whatever it was, and they were having community meals in their neighborhoods. So we want to be able to have that organization to help each other. More food security for Jefferson County. With locally grown and sourced foods so that, again, we can take care of our own community. I spoke this morning with Sarah Adrian. She and her husband, Tony, raise locally grown beef and provide that to everybody's, and also the cider house. So that's just one example of people locally providing food, and we want to make that a much bigger thing here in Fairfield and Jefferson County. The MIU student body president, Carolina Doucette, also has some great ideas to help grow vegetables and fruits here in Jefferson County. So we really hope to be putting together citizens who want to participate in that activity. Our infrastructure, public, private, collaborating on more sustainable building practices at all levels, city, county, schools, commercial, residential. You know, we're going to be, I think, building a new school. And Lori Knowles is very interested in this topic and wants to participate. Taking care of our green spaces. The city's Arbor Committee has just finished the management plan at Lamson Woods. And just want to say a shout out to Michael Halley because he's here and he was very involved in that. And we thank that committee for really taking that on, something that needed to be done for many years, and it's been accomplished. The city will be installing 2 new electric charging stations soon across from the fire station in that public parking lot, so we look forward to that. So there's much to do, and we are going to need all your help to do all these projects. So today, we are planting the seed for a future resilient Fairfield. And I want to thank the leadership of Stuart Valentine and Bob Ferguson, TerraCycle, the Interact group back here, Sierra Club for what they're doing, the Iowa Land Trust, and everyone involved in these projects. May this bench represent our coming together in friendship, stewardship, to talk, listen, and plan our Fairfield resilient future. Thank you.
We'll do a figurative ribbon cutting. Snip. I did remember the scissors. Again, thank you very much, Connie, for your leadership. As I was listening to Connie, I was thinking, here's an example of a woman who has all her professional duties, and she elects to stand up to play the role of mayor. And I really want to acknowledge the value of that and the example of that for each of us in our own area of passion. Because imagine what Fairfield, what I call the Fairfield experiment, which is already a pretty fun experiment in my view. But imagine if each of us played that role in our respective area of passion and interest. I think that would be worthy of a lifetime, frankly. So good luck in finding out what that it looks like. There is a term out in the sustainable economics universe known as placemaking. I work with clients all over the country who are in the sustainability area, and I would have to say, having traveled the country, that Fairfield is probably one of the best examples of placemaking that I know of in the country. And I don't say that lightly. I really am proud of what Fairfield has generated over these last 40, well, I've been here 35 years, so since I've been here. And I wouldn't underestimate the quality of life that we have and what it takes to keep that expanding. So think of, each of you, think of your role in enhancing that Fairfield experiment. So key themes, key takeaway themes from this is that under that community resilience plan, what we're celebrating here today is one, closing the loop on waste. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that, you know, the trajectory of waste is going exponential. Plastics showed up 60 years ago. We've got roughly 4.5 Mount Everests worth of plastics in the oceans, in the rivers, in the ground. But here's what's interesting. Of those 4.5 Mount Everests, 2 of them have been created in the last 2 years. The rate of growth in plastic, single-use plastic use globally has exploded. So that could be seen as a big problem, a big, scary, hairy problem. I see it as a massive business opportunity. How do you turn that into a valuable resource going back into the community and creating usable products that we can reuse? So re-engineer, redesign, reduce, reuse, then recycle. Make sense? Okay. So, TerraCycle Fairfield was born out of the inspiration of a gentleman named Tom Szacky, who 15 years ago came up with the idea of starting a business with the sole mission to eliminate the very concept of waste. Now, what other example do we have where waste is not at all in the system anywhere? Nature. Nature doesn't do waste. We forgot that in our economic development plan. TerraCycle is actually designed to take us beyond the concept of recycling to, again, go back to the beginning, designed for reuse, reduce, re-engineer, recycle, and creating what's called a closed loop system. That is where the national and global economy is going. Therein, for Interact, that's where the business opportunities are for your generation. Massive, massive wealth to be unlocked in doing that. So TerraCycle, if you haven't seen it, the collection bins at everybody's. I wanted to take a moment to actually present our first Business Champion Award to Everybody's Whole Foods. We have a representative, Shane, here to accept the award. The Everybody team has been incredibly supportive of launching this experiment. It started out as some sort of not so glamorous cardboard boxes. It's gotten more pretty, better curbside appeal. A lot of you are participating. Witness this bench. This is 1.5 years of collecting toothpaste tubes, toothbrushes, razors, beauty care, lotion. 300 pounds of plastic have gone into the TerraCycle system and come back as a bench. Now, do you think we want to build another playground somewhere? All right. Well, get everybody on board. And here's what we got to do. Next Mount Everest for us is Hy-Vee. Then it's Walmart. And then it's every business in town looking at their waste system and trying to trim out high-use, high-value products that can go into the TerraCycling system. All right? So again, input from you all, ideas, participation, it'd be great. So Shane, I talked to him before. Here's a 22-year-old, and like I said, he gets to figure out in many parts how to clean up after our mess. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody's Whole Foods. All right. So next, we wanted to have Interact come up and talk, because this brick pad, which, by the way, everybody take note, there's a company in Chicago called AZEK, A-Z-E-K. They've been around for over 20 years. They're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. These bricks are actually recycled tires and recycled plastic. So again, how to take a big garbage dump and turn it into something usable. So the idea behind this little display here is to demonstrate what the TerraCycling future looks like. Srishti is one member of the Interact Club that helped us install this, and she's going to talk a little bit about Rotary and Interact.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everybody. So my name is Srishti, and I'm the president of Interact Club this year. I'll take off my mask. Thank you. And I've been in Interact for, I guess, 6 years. Interact is a local community service club for teenagers in Fairfield, and we have students from Harshey School, Fairfield High School, and sometimes even homeschool students. So I've been involved, like I said, in 6 years, but this club has been going for over 20 years, and we do a lot of local community service projects and international service projects. So this whole patio has been one of our favorite projects this year. We came out, I think, 2 Saturdays ago and helped Stuart build this great patio and also put in the bench. But we've been involved with TerraCycle for around 2 years now. The last president of Interact Club, Lulu Miller, connected with Stuart, and we thought it was a great opportunity to help with the maintenance of the TerraCycle curbside boxes that Stuart was talking about. So every week we rotate and we take out all of the trash, put them in boxes, and we ship them off to the TerraCycle company where they can then reuse it, and it can come back in great things like this bench. So we've been doing that for around 2 years now, and we're really, really happy to be partnered with great community service activities like the patio building project. Some other activities that we've been doing this year, even with COVID, we've been doing Zoom meetings online, and we fundraised to help 2 community gardens in Guatemala this year through Charity Seeds. A few years ago, we had the great fortune of being able to send a girl in Kenya to a bio-intensive school where she had the opportunity to learn computer literacy skills, organic farming and agriculture, and be able to help herself, her family, and also her community. So it was great for us to be able to see as teenagers here that whatever we do here can have a global impact. So what Stuart was talking about with civic and community engagement, we're really, really lucky to have the leadership of Beth Alonso, who's been inspiring us for many years to start to give back to our community in little pieces. So we're really happy to be here. And if you want to learn more about us, please come check us out at our booth over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Srishti. So along those lines, the table right here, TerraCycle Fairfield, there are books by the founder, Tom Szacky, the TerraCycle Fairfield hats, which I hope every one of you will come and pick one up. And it's not 100% perfect in my wish list, but it is 100% recycled bottles. It's made in China, because guess what? We exported our recycling industry to China, and then they closed the window on us. So we don't have any very well-developed internal resources. It's kind of a sad testimonial, but it is another reflection of the ability to TerraCycle old plastic. So on the next theme, I'd like to introduce Susan Aram, who is the co-founder of the Sustainable Iowa Land Trust. This theme, of course, is enhancing local food systems, how to bring food production back home, how to have food production generate new economic opportunities within our community and deliver higher quality, more nutritionally dense food. Susan had foresight and a lot of grit and brawn to get us to where we are today with the Sustainable Iowa Land Trust, otherwise known as SILT. But today she's going to report to you about our Circle Our Cities campaign.
I knew you'd find me, Stuart. I was hiding behind him. I wanted to track down the mayor before she left. So welcome, everyone. Susan Aram, Executive Director of Sustainable Iowa Land Trust, but I want to thank Stuart for being our board president because he's really led us to a great place. And we're actually at the point here where we can invest in a pilot project to circle our cities in Iowa with sustainable food farms. And Fairfield is now our pilot project for that, our proof of concept. So we have invested these resources, including Christy Nicky, who you'll hear from, who moved here more than a year ago, or about a year ago, to go to the program, the Regenerative Ag program. And we were lucky enough to find her a couple of months ago when she applied for the job. And Christy's going to be networking with everyone here and beyond to help us start to ground our local food system in permanent local food farms. Many of you may not know that land access is the #1 challenge for farmers today. These young farmers cannot get on the ground. They cannot break in because they're competing with either housing development or commodity farm prices. So we would like to set aside or designate land around all of our cities in Iowa for food farming so we can feed our communities. Instead of importing 90% of our food, we could grow 90% of it like we did 100 years ago here. And then you know the source of your food, you know your farmer, you know what's going on that farm, and that farm is accountable to the community. It's community-based. So it's less likely to be the kind of farm that you perhaps don't agree with or that perhaps externalizes the cost of water quality and air quality and soil quality. These are farms that invest here in the community. So we hope that you will support Christy in her work here. She's got 1 year to prove herself and prove that this concept works, that people in the community will make this happen. And we ask you to introduce her to landowners around the community who may be in line with this vision of protecting our land so that future farmers can afford it and can feed you with it. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to introduce Christy to say a few words. And thank you again, Fairfield, for being so enlightened and so forward-thinking about this kind of systemic thinking.
Thank you, Susan. I'm a little shorter than everybody else, huh? So as Susan mentioned, my family and I moved to Fairfield about a year ago. I have 3 kids. I'm from a farming community. I would say a lot like Fairfield, but are there really any other small towns like Fairfield? It's so unique, and we just love it here. And I've had a pleasure of meeting so many of you already in the past year being here, and now I've spent a month working with SILT, going and touring people's beautiful farms and land and talking to them and finding out, what are your needs? Do you need a younger farmer to come in and help you transition your land? Do you need help on the farm? I am in the regenerative agriculture program at MIU, and I've had meetings now with a lot of our faculty talking about, what can we do to get interns on the land? What can we do to get better internships and make sure that we're graduating students that can get out there and have those applicable skills to do farming? So it's been really exciting to be here and everyone that I've met so far in the community, and I'm just really excited to see what we can do here and make sure, like Susan said, that Fairfield and all of Iowa has a sustainable future of food production that's local and rooted in resilient communities just like Fairfield. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so much, Christy. I'm reminded of going back to 2009 when we launched the Go Green 2020 Sustainable Plan. The primary objective that we all saw was needed was to play the long game and grow a sustainability culture. And this is why it's so important to engage the youth and to educate ourselves on the emerging, what I call sustainability megatrend. I often say to my kids in classes or with clients, whatever you do in the 21st century, get yourself aligned with the sustainability megatrend. That's where the tailwind is. you know, if you're still going for drill, baby, drill, that's where the headwinds are. So it's just simple life principles like this. Go where the tailwinds are, and that is the sustainability megatrend. One of the words that we're hearing a lot these days in the national media is infrastructure. And when it comes to enhancing our local food system, what Christie and Silt represent is a new design framework, a new infrastructure that redefines land ownership, reduces barriers to entry, and actually makes possible the smaller table food oriented farming in Iowa. It's simply by policy that we have 90+% in soybeans and corn. We can shift that now with new infrastructure. And so again, it's going to take a lot of creativity. It's not figured out, but that's the fun part of the Fairfield experiment, isn't it? Yeah, we're the lab rats. With that, I wanted to leave you with something many of us heard and grew up with, especially those with gray hairs coming out the edges, right? There was this social scientist back in the 60s named Margaret Mead, and the quote we all the older types grew up with was this: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed people can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." So I welcome our participation. Thank you for coming, and go shop at your local farmer's market.